just had these pure organic fruit bars. Delicious. This one's pineapple passion fruit. They're so good. I've eaten like 10 of them. The Nerd Chat, an Xbox podcast,
is a podcast celebrating all things gaming, food, and the good old days.
Hosted by a group of best friends. If you'd like to find out more, visit nerdchatmedia.com.
This is Cortana. And remember, don't make a girl a promise if you know you can't keep it. As always, Spartans, see you online.
Oh, hello. Daddy D. Wally here, and welcome to The Nerd Chat, an Xbox podcast celebrating all things gaming, food, and the good old days. This week, we are going to be talking about tipping developers, Jose. Just the tip. Dead Space is dead. Xbox and game preservation, Xbox field trips, Star Wars Outlaws, and Fallout is taking over Amazon Video and Elgato. Joining me as always is Death is Only the Beginning.
Do you know what that's from? Dead Space. I'm doing great, buddy. Thanks for having me here. Great to be back. Excited for our guest, which we'll introduce in just a second. It's been a great week of news, man. And like the Fallout show coming out, we'll touch base on that. Like, it's a great time to be a gamer, man. Levin, also some beautiful weather out here in Colorado. And while I mean absolutely no disrespect to our guest, the Nuggets got a clutch win last night against the Timberwolves. I was actually at the game. I'm incredibly tired right now, but it was a great game. Thanks for having me, bud.
And joining us from his new black site over there. I don't know what's going on. Happy Masters Week. Is that RGB light show going? X Bacon Gaming. How are you?
Gentlemen, is the greatest week in sports. It is Masters Week. Let's freaking go. I streamed all 10 hours of it today, all working. I should literally take this week off because golf is my life. And let's talk video games.
And making his grand debut on the Nerd Chat, he is a geek husband, dad, and Secret Friends Unite and co-op mode host, a U.S. Air Force vet. I had no idea about that. That is awesome. Please welcome Mr. Todd Oxtra, a.k.a. Todd of War, to the show.
Thank you so much. I have enjoyed watching you gentlemen online. It's so much fun. I love the fact that you're probably the most unhealthiest people in the world. When you talk about what you eat, I'm like,
and he's absolutely correct. He's absolutely right.
He's absolutely
have
right.
You scheduled your cholesterol, yearly cholesterol checks.
You know what, Todd? It's funny you asked. I can bring up my numbers right now on my kp.org app if you want me to, and I'll show you my stats later in the show. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for that.
Dan's a specimen.
He
really is. No
jokes. Todd, for real, thank you so much for being here. We really do appreciate it. Have been having a blast listening to you guys, listening to Chapeau on that one episode. I'm excited to be joining you as well. Love video games. And why don't you just give us a little background about yourself, a little video game history up until the point where you touched an Xbox controller and everything changed.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm an old. So
well, so are we.
I'm a child of the 80s. And so my first gaming experience was I owned an Atari 5200.
What's that?
Exactly. No one knows what that system was. It was the successor to the 2600. As a kid, I thought, well, this is going to be even better, twice as good, right?
Absolutely.
A pile of trash, worst controllers ever. It was the first
analog
controller.
Worse than the N64 controller.
How dare you? How dare you?
Worse. it has an analog stick, like a big joy arcade stick, but it didn't self-center. So it would like always be off and it would break. It was a
So constant stick drift.
Oh, constant. And but the claim to fame, it was the first console to have basically pause.
Oh,
It was crazy, and it had
revolutionary.
Had buttons on the side. It was really wonky. If you want to look it up, it's very weird.
I want to right now.
It's very weird. But then I begged my parents for a Commodore 60 or Commodore 128 for, my friends had PCs and I got a Commodore 128. Once again, I didn't get a Commodore 64. I got a 128 for some reason.
See, I've heard of the ones. I've heard of the 64. Never heard of it. I didn't know the 128 existed until just now.
Once again, not supported. No games for it. I just played all. I played all Commodore 64 games. Because my friend had them. My dad could get me all of these diskettes from his coworkers for free. So basically, unlimited piracy.
Love it.
I'd load up a game, make a sandwich. By the time it was loaded up from the 3.5 inch, no, it was the 5.25 inch floppy disk, I would be able to play even like the early stages of like adult entertainment, Farmer's Daughter. That's all I'll say.
Oh.
Now I'm piqued. Interesting.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, well, tell us more.
So then, I bought my NES from a neighbor who bought it from I guess a flea market is what you would call it. So it was the set with the Zapper and Rob the Robot, and it came with Duck Hunt and Super Mario Brothers and Gyromite. So that's where I got started. And then I stopped like owning consoles. I rented them at like video game stores, and I would get like the Genesis or the SNES.
Why did you stop owning them right there? What's going on?
I went to junior high and discovered girls.
Whoa.
And I was busy.
See,
I was
Jose and I didn't have that problem.
What's a girl type? I don't know. Still.
Well, that's the thing. I was into girls. They just weren't into me. But my constant pursuit of them was where I spent my time. But I still was so interested. I would go to arcades and things like that. I really didn't get back into gaming until college, which is the worst time to get back into gaming because you have like responsibilities. Yes. But I got my first real not gaming PC, but a PC. I got a Packard Hell 486 33 megahertz. So if that tells you, I think it had a 200 megabyte hard drive, took 3.5 inch floppies, no graphics card, no CD sound or anything. But I did upgrade that finally and got like to play Seventh Guest and Myst and things like that.
Oh man, did you ever beat Myst? Did you?
No.
Okay.
No. Who does that? Did. And I tried playing Quake without a graphics card. That was pretty intense. It was so horrible. Such a bad experience. But yeah, I got back into console gaming when I actually was when I was in college. My girlfriend and my friends all pitched in and got me a PS1. I was thinking N64 PS1, but PS1 was so exciting to me because I'm like, these are all new experiences I've never seen.
Yeah, that was the right choice.
Sonic and Mario, and I'm like, well, yeah, I can play those, but my friend had those, so I'm like, okay, great. And I just dove in and got into all different genres. That was a big thing about PlayStation 1. Yeah. It opened up the doors for new genres. The games are pretty cheap, cinematic.
Yeah, my favorite PlayStation console to this day, PS1.
Yeah. But after I bought the PS1, I've owned every console after that. Xbox, and that brings me to my first Xbox.
Okay.
And I can tell you that story if you're interested.
Yeah, please tell us what got you into Xbox.
I was in the Air Force. I was deployed to Saudi Arabia in part of Operation Iraqi Freedom.
Okay.
Before it was Iraqi Freedom, it wasn't that because it was Thanksgiving right before weapons of mass destruction came out in like January. And all of a sudden I'm in Saudi Arabia. I'm like, oh, I guess I'm sticking around here to basically support taking down Saddam and all this stuff. It was kind of crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Well, a friend of mine had an Xbox, and she was a fellow Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan. She had Xbox for Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which was an Xbox exclusive at the time.
Okay.
And I was a huge Buffy
Todd,
fan.
I gotta ask you real quick before the Buffy part. Had you enlisted before 9/11 happened, or was that?
Well, I was in Air Force ROTC at Michigan State University, so I was going in as an officer. My dad was a naval vet, and he talked to me and it's like, "Hey, get it." So I had a scholarship. I thought I was going to be a nurse in the Air Force, but I did not. So I'm not a nurse now. I do have a nursing degree, but never used it. Just went into supply chain. So that's what I do today in my real job. But yeah, so we were there, and She said, "Hey, I know you're a big Buffy fan. I've got it on Xbox." I'm like, "What?" And I bought an Xbox for Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and the rest is history.
Wow, that is
It's an
awesome.
original one. I love it.
So you're how long were you in the Air Force? You were an officer?
I was. My wife and I were both in the Air Force.
Oh, okay. Wow. So you
Public
got,
affairs
whoa.
officer. And we were both in. And but when we got married, she was stationed stateside. We were always apart. I was in Korea for a year remote, and I decided if we want to be together, and actually live together, we should probably separate. And so just honorably discharged both of us. So my wife got a job in Minnesota for the Air Force Reserve in Minnesota, and I joined her. My dad's from Minnesota, so I told her all about Minnesota, how much I loved it, and the rest is history. Wow. So been in Minnesota. I was in the Air Force for 5 years. My wife was too. She did a little bit of time in the Guard, but then got pregnant with my son, and yeah.
Wow. I have so many questions about that. Like that's like I always regret not joining the Air Force.
He just wants to be Maverick.
Exactly.
That's
I just
what that
wanted
is, Todd.
The greatest.
One of my best friends, his son has been accepted in the Air Force Academy.
Awesome.
So proud of the kid. And
That's
he's
awesome.
going to be a pilot.
Oh,
he already has his pilot license.
That's so cool.
He is so focused on that. So proud of him.
Well, I'll save the Air Force talk, Mumbo and Jumbo, for later because I could talk about that forever. Awesome to hear about your gaming background. We'll get more into that later. Jose, why don't we jump quickly into some nerd chat shout outs, Jose? And quickly, we've only got one shout out this week, Jose.
I don't.
You're absolutely right.
I don't know what you were going for.
That's it. But thankfully, it's from BigBox. BigBox 1431 says, "Professional nerd chatters, do you want Gears 6 or Gears insert vague military sci-fi term here? There is a difference. What do you want to see from the Coalition's next Gears game that is hopefully revealed in the next few weeks? Respectfully, BigBox." Todd, do you want to go first on this one, or should I send it to Paul? You got any ideas, or need to think about it for a second? Have you played Gears? Are you a Gears fan? How about let's start with that?
I love Gears.
Okay.
And it's really what got me. I have a friend here that we've been friends for years, and he's a gamer as well. And something that I loved about Gears is the fact that we could play couch co-op together. We played all of the games.
Great co-op game.
Co-op. It is, and they've supported
Fantastic.
every generation, which I love, and we just have a blast with it. And I love what they've done with Gears. And it seems like I've loved what they've done, and obviously that's a series that started with. It was a showcase for Unreal Engine. It was Epic who owned it, and then it was handed off. We got that weird spinoff from People Who Can Fly, I believe, and Judgment.
Judgment?
And that's the only game I haven't played.
I haven't played that one either.
Yeah, I bet people don't even remember it. But I liked what they did with Gears in the last one, where they made a little bit open world. I would like them to go more into it, and I truly would like it to feel more like a co-op game rather than a solo game. Maybe not. So I would like to see, or do something like Resident Evil, where you switch between different players at different points. Because I think that could bring a lot of things, like say maybe you get separated and
did you do that in 5? I can't remember. Didn't you get? I thought you were playing as multiple characters, right? Or what? Am I wrong?
Not at the same. I was thinking like more like branching, like where.
You're playing like
basically, you could essentially
like Leon and Claire.
Correct. And then, but you could do this like almost at the same time, where you'd have different paths, and like somebody could be Dom and somebody, but you could be doing totally different things. If you played it solo, that'd be an opportunity for replay, because you could go back and play the other player and do that element, and basically the AI would do the rest. So I think that would be something very cool that they could lean in on. But I think this has to be the last Gears game, because I can't think of any single solo story game that's up to number 6 that's been around for almost 3 decades.
Halo.
But that's restarted, dude.
No. Halo.
True.
Forza. But okay, so what do you want to title it? Gears. whatever Retribution or like
Judgment.
Gear. I think it needs to be Gear 6 and just end it at 6. They've done a number every time except for, like you said, the random one. Or do you want it to just be Gears, like you said, random military slaying?
They can't call it Gears Infinite. I mean, because
Or
just
could
opening
they
the door to
call
like
it Gears
it's
Infinite?
never ending.
Can be
and-
ballsy.
Yeah, no. I think, and it's weird because you can't go, Judgment. I mean, because they've already used Judgment, so it's like Judgment Day. I mean, could they do
Yeah.
Endgame? No, you don't want to do an Avengers thing.
Ooh, I
So
like
think,
Gears Endgame. I'm not gonna lie, that sounds kind of cool.
Gears of Heaven or Hell. I don't know. Sure, why not? Gears
Did you?
finale.
I want to ask quickly. Did you play the Hive Busters DLC?
I did. I loved that
Yeah.
so much.
I
It
did
was
too.
ballsy, and I really expected them to do more things like that
With the
not
class
franchises,
stuff. Yeah.
and they just kind of. I thought that we would get more of that, but yeah, it was
Yeah.
so cool. Yeah.
And were you a fan of how Gears 5 ended or no?
I
No
loved it, and that's
spoilers.
why I'm frustrated because it ends on that cliffhanger, and your decision you made, and I don't know, is there a canon decision
Yeah.
they're
There's
going to
gotta
go
be,
with?
right? There's gotta be. Yeah.
But I loved it. Yeah, but it seems like that game was what 2018.
Gosh,
when
it's
Gears
been I don't even know. That's a
came
long
2006 was the. Oh no, the first one was 06.
No, we're
I don't
talking
know
about
what the
what five- I don't know
last
what
one
5 was. Yeah, I don't know what 5 was.
Bacon, why don't you get on that? Yeah, I love the most recent Gears games. I think they're severely underrated, and I think Coalition is probably one of Xbox's best studios, and I'd love to see what they could do after Gears. But I do want closure with this, and then maybe let it rest for a while. Bacon, any thoughts on the Gears franchise? I don't even know. Like,
It's 2019, by the way.
and that seems like it was not too long ago, but realistically, that's 5 years now. Bacon.
Don't kill me here, but
Oh no, here we go.
they need to speed the game up.
What do you mean? Oh, you don't like the slow
There's
cover to
too
cover
much
feel?
cover. There's too much
Counterpoint,
camera
Bacon.
shake. There's too much.
Counterbank point.
They need to
Mass
make
Effect.
the gameplay more like Outriders.
I never played Outriders.
I liked Outriders. I didn't play much of it, but
I
it
hear
was
it's
good.
Cover-based shooter with different movement and different tactics. I love Gears as much as the next guy, but you're right. It is pretty long in the tooth at this point. We should probably title it Rusty Gears.
That seems not nice.
Chipotle Bear, what should they name the next Gears? Gear 6
Rusty
or
Gears.
Gears?
Come on.
Here's my issue. What I want is Gears of War 6. That
Gears-
is what I want.
Resolution.
Sure. I don't really care that much about the title. What I want is the 6th one, though, because I agree with Todd. I want to finish the story. However,
Yes.
what I think they should do is reboot it. I really do. And here's
after
why.
After this. You can't reboot it now, Jose. Are you
But
serious?
But here's the problem. We're trying to appeal to a whole new generation of gamer. Most of these kids weren't born when Gears came out. The kids that are gaming today, and that's the oldness in us.
Carry the two.
I'm telling you, like the kids that I teach at school weren't born at this time, or they were born this year. So the problem is like that story, that the all the incredible moments with Dom and your squad. Like,
Hey, Matt Valdez.
I just don't know if it's gonna sell as well. I'm sure it will be fine. Everybody loves the Coalition. I mean, it has enough like oomph in it to do okay. But I just think we're seeing this world where like it's got to be something incredibly special, or it's just not going to sell, and then we would never get anything else. And so I kind of appreciate what Halo did with the reboot of like, it's not a reboot. I know Infinite's not a full reboot. I get it. But I'm just saying like they basically did that. Right. And so I kind of think something like that may be interesting. What I hope they don't do is just go fully and focused on mobile. Like I'm not saying they can't do some component of that sundown. You laugh, but like look at the Modern Warfare stuff. Look at like the trends. Like I could see Coalition trying to be smart about the money and incorporating some mobile element of it.
I didn't. No,
I don't know. Unreal 5, dude, it works for the platforms. I'm just saying. Again, I want Gears of War 6. I don't care what they call it, but I that might be from the business decision what they may end up trying to do. I don't know. We'll see.
Hot take. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to Deja Vu said something about the Masters. B still has his Atari 2600 in the original box. Wow. GAN Games in original boxes. Shout out to B. B must be a boomer gamer with X Bacon too. Deja said it's going to be on Unreal Engine 5, correct? And Matt said, amen, speed it up. You know what, Matt? Hot take. Keep it how it is. Let's finish up this trilogy. Gears can be its own thing. Not every game needs to be a Call of Duty or like you said in Outriders, let Gears finish the way they want to. I trust the coalition. If there's any studio that has handled the handing of the baton over well, it's the coalition. I want them to finish the trilogy how they see fit, and then let them free Xbox, please, for the love of God. Let them work on something besides Gears, because
Like
they are
Dead Space
so
2.
talented over there. And maybe it can be some sort of horror game, or maybe it's a horror game in Gears, but it's not, something else. But I cannot wait. I disagree. I don't think they need to speed it up. I think it plays just fine. There's an audience for everything, and I think I appreciate Gears gameplay whenever I play it. Revolutionized the third-person cover-based shooter. It all comes back to Gears, gentlemen.
Yeah.
So great question. Shout out to BigBox1431. We appreciate you guys. Let's jump into some Xbox news for the week.
News team, assemble!
News story number 1. And I read this tweet as it happened. And I know our episode is focused on Dead Space, but I saw this reaction and it really made me start thinking here. And I wanted to talk about this with you guys. I saw Mike Ybarra over on X platform, aka @Quick. Famously, Ybarra was the head of, he was an Xbox for a long time. Then he was corporate vice president at Microsoft, president at Blizzard, and now he's just kind of playing video games, apparently. And he wrote, I've thought about this idea for a while. As a player, since I've been diving into single-player games lately, when I beat a game, there are just some that leave me in awe of how amazing the experience was. At the end of the game, I've often thought, I wish I could give these folks another 10 or 20 bucks because it was worth more than my initial $70. And they didn't try to nickel and dime me for every second. Games like, I disagree with him on this one, Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War, Red Dead Redemption 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Elden Ring, etc. I know $70 is already a lot, but it's an option at the end of the game I wish I had at times. Some games are that special. I know most will dislike this idea. Smiley face, by the way, I realize that we're tired of tipping in everything else, but I view this different from a pressure to tip type scenario many face and give feedback on. And then I Dustin Legary quote tweeted Mike Ybarra's tweet and said, Dustin, of course, from IGN, I think the billion and trillion dollar companies can handle compensating their employees fairly instead of relying on a tip from me. Because it's not like my money goes to the combat designer or the level artist. It goes into the corporate piggy bank. You may as well just buy their stock. So what do you guys think about this? Do you think that if we enjoy a game that much that we should have the opportunity or we should be thinking about a way to tip a developer for their hard work? Or should a developer just charge us what they feel the game is worth and we pay that amount? And does that mean $100 games? If your game's so good, charge me for it, prove it, and we'll pay for it. I don't think people are necessarily against paying for a good experience. So Todd, let's start with you. What do you think about this whole Quick's comments and Destin's disgust of the idea of having to tip developers? Like, it's not our responsibility.
I'm really confused with what the ultimate goal was. I know as a professional, it seems weird to get a tip. You're a salaried employee. Most of these people are. Maybe they're contractual. But to get a tip, and if he means the developer, well, is the developer really going to spread that out to all of the people? Is it really going to help their bottom line? Really, most developers, they benefit from people buying their game at full price. And then if they are a good employer, they will find some way to either give a bonus if the game does well, or they'll find ways to improve their salaries on a yearly basis to help offset inflation, things like that. Basically asking your player base to make your employees' lives better seems like a ill-gotten approach, and Mike Ybarra is a he's probably a millionaire after everything he did. He was a Microsoft employee all those years. So maybe he's coming from the wrong approach. I think he's wanting to do right by things, but I think some people made some comments in here that I liked, that why don't you gift another copy of a game to other people? That's more money showing you like their product. So when those people, those employees maybe leave the studio, or they want to say, hey, I deserve a raise because look at how well our game did, or they leave the studio, they can say that game was successful and I was part of it. I think that's the approach you should go after. Or, maybe it's a scenario where, I don't know, you try to highlight the people that you liked what they did in the game from a combat perspective. You find their credit in the game and you call them out. Say, I love the combat and thank you so-and-so for making that happen, and your staff. So that's where I kind of feel appreciation, recognition will help them in the long run versus 25 cents.
Yeah. I like that idea, Todd. It's so funny you mentioned that. I had just beaten The Last of Us Part 2 for the first time earlier this year. And as much as I thought the game was good, I'm not like in love with it as much as other people are, or The Last of Us in general. And I actually appreciated Abby and her story. But the thing that stood out to me as I watched I don't know if you guys watched it, I don't think it was called Grounded, the making of the game. Fantastic series on YouTube. Or documentary, and I recommend everybody watch it if you're a fan of video games at all. It's so fun to watch. And there was one guy who was like an intern, and they asked him for advice on level design, and he worked his way up because he basically rebuilt the section in the parking garage. It's like an encounter, and it's probably one of the best encounters in the game. And then after that, he like became one of their lead like encounter designers, and I followed him on X platform, and I wanted to write him I saw his DMs were open, guys, and I sissied out. I just wanted to write, hey,
do it right now.
I really appreciate your level design. I saw you on the thing. I just want to say that was my favorite part of the game, because the combat and that level specifically, I was like, that was so much fun. Thank you for doing that. And so I really appreciate your idea, and too bad I sissied out, but Jose, what do you think? You're Mr. Econ. Let's get down to the dirty business
econ
side of it. He's been teaching econ for 20 years, you guys.
Nope.
And well, kind of. And so, what do you think about? I mean, I don't want to talk about tipping culture in general, but what do you think of Quick's comments there and Dustin's disgust with the idea of our responsibility of tipping developers?
I mean, to be fair, I think Ybarra, I don't think he was trying to start a firestorm. I think what he was saying was like, have you had that feeling when you finish a game and you're like, damn, that was sweet. And you kind of want to you want to celebrate it, just like you talked about, Dan.
How many times have I bought Mass Effect, you guys?
1,000.
Elden Ring. How many times have I bought that?
At least
Red Dead Redemption 2.
I think that's what Ybarra was going for, but it's an interesting concept. And I fully agreed with Todd, to be honest with you. Like, there's no logical way in a way that this will work. Like even if you were like, I'm going to give $100 because I love this game, how do you split that? Like, everybody gets 38 cents. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I get that the idea is that many people do this and they make money, but I also ultimately agree with Todd about the money thing. And let me be very clear, in tipping culture, like, I'm a 20% guy. Every restaurants we go to, like, it is standard for me. I believe in tipping for service where that's applicable. I really do. I also understand, like he said, like at school, I think it would be insane for me to put a tip jar on my desk, but that's kind of effectively what this would be, right? Can you imagine, like, my teachers, like Bacon's wife, again, who is a phenomenal teacher, but for her to be at the end of the year, like, as kids are graduating on stage, like, hey, here's my tip jar, everybody throw a buck in. Like, I don't agree with that idea in spirit. And so I think the better choice is definitely buying the game for a friend, buying a second copy, maybe on a different platform. Or I also think I argue this is maybe where microtransaction could be used positively. Like, imagine if in, Gears or any game really, if it was just cosmetic stuff where, like, you can go buy this pack of stuff for $2. You know what I mean? Nothing crazy. If you want to support, you can support. And if you don't, that's totally fine. But I also don't think that developers make games for a tip. That's the other piece of this equation, is like, it's not that they would deny money. People don't tend to turn away money, but that's not the purpose of what they're doing. And so I don't see that going very well in that space. But I also don't think that's what Ybarra was going for. I don't think he's advocating that we start adding a tipping system at the end of a game. But but I get what he's saying. I appreciate he's trying to celebrate games.
Bacon, what are your thoughts on Quicks at Mike Ybarra's comments here? And I think you were a Mikey Y fan, weren't you, Bacon? Or
I was till he quit.
oh, there we go. There it is.
For someone who does accept tips, I've never asked for a tip, but I do accept them. Be it $1, be it I've gotten $200 tips before for what I do in my job. I think is very, very, very generous. I train all my trainees that if someone even gives us $1, you thank them and move on because that's all they have. Any appreciation to anyone who has just put 3, 4, 5 years of their life into a product to then watch Jim Sterling give it a 3. I am all for this idea from Ybarra. And I can only think of 2 games probably in my life that I would tip for, and that would be Mass Effect and Elden Ring, both of which I've recently played. There would have to be structure that says this goes to these guys down. This can't go to these guys. This can't go to Microsoft. This can't go to Sony. This is split between the entire development team who did pour 6, 7, 8 years of their life into a product, and it shows appreciation. Yes, maybe at the end of the day, it is only $2,000 bonus, but that's coming from the fans. That's coming from the people who played your product and said, absolutely. Now, am I getting more than $70 joy out of Mass Effect? You're damn tootin', and I bought it twice, 3 times now. So if there is a way to do this, I would do this on certain games. I'm not going to do it on your Call of Duties. I'm not going to do it because I buy so many battle passes. But I personally think it's a great idea because people who accept tips show any appreciation for any service. It's loved, and it just shows you appreciate working in the sun, working on the pavement, the hot concrete, stuff like that. It just shows, hey, you came when you didn't have to and you fixed me. It's not the same in the video game industry. I get that, but this is something these people have poured so much of their heart and soul into for so damn long to see it. I think it would mean something to developers, and it's another way to help compensate them. So
I like that idea, but you're right. How do you create something like that?
There's no tiers. It is a pot that's split evenly between everyone that worked on that product.
Yeah.
And a game that sells 3, 4, 5 million copies, if every gamer gave $1 that bought it at 5 million copies, that could really go a long freaking way to these developers. And your Ybarra shouldn't get it because he ran the studio. Your Phil Spencer shouldn't get it because he's 9-figure salary, whatever they make. But for the line level employees that do the crunch and do miss time with their families and stuff like that, I think it's a fair idea, but it's just me.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Jose and you said this too, Bacon. Like it's a good idea. I think Mike maybe could have just worded it differently or explained it a little bit better.
Like
it does seem like
a tip instead of saying, "Hey, this would be a great way to show."
Not even expecting it, but it's just like, he doesn't like specify, "Hey, this should go to these developers." Not people. He should have even said, "Not like somebody like me who's directing this or something." It should go to.
If I knew the guy who designed the part of the game in Mass Effect where I had to decide between Ashley and Caden, I'd tip that man right now because I agonize over that decision every time.
Do you really?
No, I do.
That's an easy choice, Ashley. Shout out to the chat. Deja Vu said, if you can play a 4-person co-op campaign on a new engine, that itself would be. Guys, Deja Vu, are you really playing four people in front of you?
Online?
He and I played through Gears.
Okay. Yes, I completely agree. 4-person co-op, fine, or 3 or whatever it is. They're usually always co-op, fine. But I thought he was saying like a
not couch
screen.
co-op.
Yeah,
No.
You don't want GoldenEye? I mean, we're podcasting in 4 screens right now. I mean,
I would definitely have just got you right now.
Remember, Barry, tell that to Goose. Goose would love that comment right now. And then Matt Valdez said, when Twitter was lively, I messaged a few devs from the COD Modern Warfare 2019 team after the first trailer dropped, and they were very appreciative of the kind where it's, well, now you're making me feel bad, Matt. I should
Now
have
Dan has, or he's got more balls than Dan over here.
Yeah, he does. And to be fair, I love the Modern Warfare 19. That was the reboot. I love that quality. Oh man, the good old days. The good old days. The pandemic, everyone locked down, just playing video games. Deja Vu said the Snoop Dogg skin money should go right. Yeah, it's going right to Snoop's wallet, is where it's going. They got it. Interesting thoughts. I really do like this idea and this tweet, and good discussions, boys. Let's move on to a news story number 2. Dead Space 2 is dead. According
Fatality.
to Jeff Grubb on some podcast, he said that he broke the story, sticking with his guns, that, even though EA responded saying that they don't, what is the classic line? We don't speculate on, or we don't comment on rumors.
We don't comment on speculation or something like that.
Basically, the lackluster sales has led to Dead Space 2 remake being canceled, as Grubb is doubling down on what he said. He's saying that it was planned, it has a code name, and it's not being made now. Jose, you're Dead Space fan number 1. You actually, no, Bacon played it too. You guys did play it. I was going to, but I had just recently, within the past few years, played the original trilogy backwards compatibility, so I wasn't ready to just jump right in. Jose, are you bummed out about this, or did we really need another Dead Space? If anything, they should have remade 3, because that game was terrible, so they missed out on that opportunity. So, Jose, tell me what your thoughts are on Dead Space 2 remake being canceled.
I mean, my thoughts are that I'm sad. Like, I loved these games, and I loved the remake, and yeah, absolutely. Not because they were like, the story I think was a good story. It's not the best story I've ever heard, but it had great gameplay. The horror was awesome. The moodiness was amazing, and the remake just took everything that was awesome from the first game and took it up 10 levels, man. And speaking of developers, they did a whole series of shows where they talked about how they built it, rebuilt it from the ground up, and all the things they did. And it was fascinating to watch. They did put a lot of work into it. It wasn't just a reskin. It wasn't just an HD upgrade. It was a very solid remake, and it was great. I loved it when it came out. I took my time with it. I really enjoyed the story. And honestly, I kind of expected that they would just do that again with 2. We joked on the show that they should actually rewrite 3 because we wanted a different outcome of 3. And I do agree with that. It just sucks that they're not going to do that. I guess what frustrates me more than anything is it's all related to money. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, EA is doing pretty well. They got a lot of stuff in the pipeline. I thought this would be just kind of more gravy in their wallet. I didn't expect it to make them tons of money. Obviously, it's a remake. It's not a brand new game, but it definitely sucks a little bit, man. I mean, my hope is that maybe I thought I read somewhere that EA Motive did want to remake number 2, and then they said they basically that they couldn't. But it's not that they started and stopped. They said no. It was just a no. So that's just sad, man. I mean, I don't know what more there is to say. Of course, I would want a second one. It makes me kind of want to go play Dead Space 2 just again, the original on the HD kind of, not HD, but the upgraded one on Game Pass. And I may do that sometime this summer, but it's just a bummer, man. So I guess I hope whatever they're working on is awesome. I hope it's certainly another horror game because they definitely have that stuff. I like the engines they use. So yeah, that's it, man.
It sucks to hear because, like you said, the game was so good. I haven't even played it, but I've heard nothing but good things. Todd, what about you? Are you a Dead Space fan, a horror fan?
I am. I love Dead Space 1. Never really got into 2. I started 2 on the backwards compatible on an Xbox.
You don't have to play any further than 2.
Well, that's the problem. It's kind of like what true. Lost Planet 3 was a pile of trash, but the first 2 Lost Planet were really good. I really liked what they did with Dead Space, but for me, it felt too faithful. I really didn't feel like I needed to play it. So I played a little bit. I'm like, yep, this is good. Know where this is going. I stepped away. I really wanted to be the Resident Evil 2 remake, where it felt like this is the same game, but they are doing a lot different. And they are... And I feel like that would be a bigger deal for me than playing that game. I felt like it was good enough. So I think it's good that the Dead Space games are available on PC and Xbox.
Yeah.
PS, the PlayStation. I don't know if you can play those games on. I don't think you can because they're on PS3 era, which they weren't. So that's a shame. And I always think of well, if Nintendo gets a decent system, I could see those games coming out to support Switch 2 or something like that. But I don't know. I'm torn because if it didn't work with one, I think it's diminishing returns with the rest of the series. So I just say if one didn't work, and that's like the pristine version.
Yeah, my favorite.
What's the reason to believe that 2 would even make a dent, and it would probably earn less?
Yeah. Bacon, you only played the first one, right? And you only played the remake, correct? You're just like Deja Vu. Shout out to Deja Vu. Deja said that the only reason I played Dead Space was because of the remake. So
I played the remake, and then I played 2 right after that. And
did you finish it?
And then I started
finished it.
3 and felt
that's
the
right.
biggest
That's right.
pile of crap I've ever put my hands on, and got 3 or 4 hours in and said,
"That's
negative."
right.
Yeah, it was a terrible experience. I don't know what they were thinking with that. This pains me. I don't do horror games, and I don't even consider it was I didn't think it was a particularly horror game, but it was creepy and scary and in all the right places. And it was one of my games of the year last year. And it was last year, or the year before. I think it was last year.
Yeah, I think
it was last year.
Yeah, that was one of my games of the year last year. I thoroughly enjoyed my time with Mass Effect 1. But I did dabble in the original, and the quality of life improvements in the remake were substantial, and that made it.
And didn't they make him speak, or was he silent in the first game?
Yeah,
Like,
they added his voice in it. They changed the movement on some of the stuff.
And the wait list,
and they showed his face too. Like that was a big deal, right?
Showed his face, and and I really enjoyed 2 in back compat. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I thought it was
a little bit more action oriented for sure.
You were telling me not to play 3, and I'm like, "There's no way. The first 2 were great. There's no way." And it was like, my big fear here is what I heard is EA Motive is now going to Battlefield, and
what's wrong with that.
I'm willing to bet they're going to try to annualize Battlefield now to try to keep up with Call of Duty. You watch.
Well, I think they're going to go back Iron Man as well, right?
Wait. You guys are forgetting EA Motive. Didn't they make Battlefield Hardline campaign?
Oh, that wasn't
I think they did, and that was a good campaign.
You liked Hardline?
Yes, dude. That was one of Battlefield's better.
Multiplayer was great, but I didn't.
I'm pretty sure that was. So I think Motive's an underrated team. And
Motive made Star Wars Battlefront 2, Star Wars Squadrons, Dead Space, and they're making the Iron Man game. That's as far back as they go. 2017.
EA Motive might be their class act team over there. That's a lot.
I don't think they're going to try to like remake Badco, since they have the remake like skills.
They need to. Yes, there we go. Okay, what about that, Bacon? What if Motive makes Battlefield? Okay,
that is a good idea.
So Hardline was by Visceral Games.
That's Visceral, yep.
And what happened to them?
Shut down.
But didn't they turn into Motive? Like a lot of the people from there, I'm pretty sure. We have to. Jose, super producer, look that up while we move on. R.I.P.
I'm going to ask one more. Can I make one more?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
The game they need to remake is the Dead Space for the Wii. If you ever played that, it used
wait, Todd. I gotta cut you off.
Didn't even know there was one.
Remake anything from the Wii. Okay,
it was really good for a Wii game and using the motion controls. I loved it. I thought it was great. It looked like trash, but it actually was fun.
Okay.
We can all agree we don't need any more Resident Evils either. So
no.
Resident Evil all agree.
Resident Evil 0, no.
Veronica,
Resident
Evil 1,
0 and 1.
Come on, bud.
Okay, speaking of horror games, Bacon, if you can get through Dead Space, you can get through Alan Wake 2. Okay, you got to.
It's Alan Wake. It's not the scariness of Alan Wake that's got me.
It's the boring.
I loved Alan Wake. I loved
the boring wackiness.
That game's not great. I'm just saying.
It was. Yep. The more I think about it, the more it's
not a great game.
Shout out to Deja Vu. Deja Vu said, "Dude, Hardline was great." Exactly. Battlefield Hardline did have it was hands down their best campaign. And shout out, here he is, you guys. He's here, Mr. Luke Lore, Xbox Expansion Pass. He said he will watch in the morning, but wanted to say how awesome it is to see you all podcasting together. Honored to know each of you. Thanks for supporting one another. Good night. Shout out Xbox Expansion. Jose, are we ever going to get Luke on the show?
I think he's afraid of me.
He said East Coast time, dude. That's the
He's afraid of me.
Luke Bacon wants to fight him. I don't know.
He's
the one that started what Mountain Time was.
Yeah,
he started a fight with me about playing Mass Effect. It started a whole conversation.
Let's be real. He's an idiot. He's not Mass Effect. Come on. Anyone who thinks Mass Effect is trash, you can't trust him.
What an idiot.
Thank you. Thank you.
And he completed Suicide Squad. So
Right.
And
Loves
loves
it.
and despite hating it at the same time. So
But doesn't
whatever.
like
Pick your
Mass
lane.
Effect.
Great to see you,
What
Luke.
the hell?
Shut up. News story number 3. Exclusive. Xbox President Sarah Bond has set up a new team dedicated to game preservation and forward compatibility. The backwards compatibility program will continue on the future of Xbox hardware. And this is coming from Bacon's #1
My boo.
Xbox fan or Xbox reporter Jez Corden. Per emails received by Windows Central, confirmed by Microsoft as genuine, Sarah Bond briefed her team on various topics. In the emails, she reiterated that Xbox's plan to build a new Xbox hardware focused on, again, why does she got to keep saying this? The biggest technological leap ever in a Again,
There's nowhere to go. We're already past
there's-
graphics. I don't know where they're going to go with
They're
this.
saying too much. They're digging themselves
Battery.
in a hole.
That's what they need. Give me some innovation on battery. That's what
They-
we need.
Also revealed that Microsoft has set up a dedicated team to future-proof digital game libraries across future hardware paradigms to further build on Xbox's strong history of developing backwards compatibility. That I can get behind, Ms. Bond. And additionally, wait, Bacon, is she Mrs. Bond or Miss Bond? Is she married?
This is
Oh, sorry,
007.
Bacon. She's married.
Oh,
Additionally, it
sorry.
was revealed that Xbox has become Diablo 4's most prominent platform since the game's inclusion in the Game Pass. So, guys, I wanted to ask you, is backwards compatibility and game preservation really that big of a deal? Is it just a big deal for us olds? Or do you think these young Gen Alphas don't even care about the old games at all? So, Bacon, I'm going to throw it over to you. You're the leading old here. So, what do you think about
I don't know if I'm the leading old, but I am an old.
game preservation and backwards compatibility? That's cool, right? Because on PCs, that's great. We should be able to play all of our OG Xbox onward on all our future consoles, right? Or whatever device it is.
I guess when the actual crash happens and all the studios shut down and we have no new games and all we can play is the old games, I guess it makes sense. I did fire up StarCraft 1 a couple weeks ago. My original
blow the dust off that box or what?
My original PC game right there in the BattleNet launcher, and
Wow,
I was playing that thing on a old Hewlett Packard back when my wife was in college, and almost caused a divorce.
My HP Omen.
But
did you play it on a 13-inch CRT?
it was pretty rough. But the game still works and works perfect. And it doesn't need to be announced in back compat or game preservation. That's a great thing about PC. B in the chat makes me build a computer for him so he can play a motocross game from like 1902. And I look at him sideways with the hardware I'm putting in his PC. I'm like, you're building this to play a motocross game from, I don't know, but that's of course one of the great things about PCs. We don't have to worry about back compat. Everything just works. And this is tough. I find myself going through my Xbox game library sometimes and seeing all my digital games going, wow, that was a great game. Move on. Wow, that was a great game. Move on. And then I play something that's new. So I guess it's important for some people, just like your forever physical crowd that just loves their physical media and going to a shelf and finding the game you want to play, pulling it out,
having to go up and put the game.
Oh, it needs updates. Oh, I need to reinstall. Like, what are we doing? There's too many new great games out to be worrying about that. But I know it's still a big part of everyone's life, and Sarah Bond can never do wrong, so I'm okay.
Todd, how do you feel about backwards compatibility and game preservation? I feel like there's a lot of people saying, yeah, we need to get behind game preservation, but I'm just wondering if they're just saying that just to be nice, be cool. I don't know.
It's nice to have, and it's a lot of people that are older that want to grip onto the nostalgia, but I think for younger people, which I love, the youths, they don't care. They may say, "Oh, I remember that thing," and they can watch a YouTube video and they move on. I mean, they want to play the things they can play on their phone. If it's not on their phone, it doesn't exist, or if it's not on something easy and it's not. So I don't know if it's something that just really doesn't matter going forward. And quite honestly, when I hear about this, I'm like, unless they don't continue on x86 platforms, why is that a thing? So this leads me into say when a technological leap I think Xbox may go ARM.
No, they're
because that would be the only reason if they have to assemble a team to do something different. Because if these games work and they build on the same hardware, unless they change to a Linux system or something like that, I just don't see what matters if they go with ARM. I mean, they can do like what MacBook. I mean, they can do smaller, thinner chips. They can do something different.
What's ARM? What's ARM?
Don't worry about it. I'll tell you later.
Yeah, think of like phone platforms, and think of like
the Lenovo Legion Go, the ROG Ally ARM architecture.
No, that's so laxative.
That's all AMD.
Think of like the new Macs. Think of the new Macs.
M1 is an ARM
very
chip,
thin profile. Yeah.
NVIDIA tried to buy ARM, and every regulator in the world said no.
Dan, it's like, think about it's like Legos and Mega Bloks. They kind of do the same thing, but they are different, and they do have different functions, and they don't always work together. That's kind of the best way for you to think about it.
Think
Todd
of mobile
is
versus
saying we're going to get
PC.
a powerful mobile device instead of a traditional console.
No, it could
or
be a
both.
console with an
That's
ARM
not what Todd said.
processor.
We don't know that that's where it's going.
With
Think
all
of
the
like the
talk
iPhone
of
15 can play, what is it, the most recent Resident Evil game, and they're charging $70 for it. That is essentially a more powerful than probably a PS4.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm willing to bet that they're going to do something way more Windows based with all this talk of Steam and Epic launchers. I bet the Xbox UI goes away and it's just a mini.
But
PC
didn't I just
in your
read,
room.
Bacon, that they had the Xbox UI on like web browsers now or something? I could have swore I just read that somewhere.
Yeah, I think I read the same thing. It's like a light version.
So
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay. Well,
but in order to stop back compat and all that, all you got to do is make your consoles a freaking Windows PC. Steam and Epic and everything would run there.
Ask for Todd and Jose. Do you think it's a good use of time and money and resources to be focusing on this at Microsoft and Xbox, or should they be focusing on new games?
Go ahead, Todd.
No, I think it's new games. I mean,
okay.
I think because I'm wondering, like the next hardware platform, why wouldn't the games work? Like I said, so it just seems like, and unless they're going to go back to the OG Xbox, where I think only 25 games are backwards compatible. There's a very small amount of those.
Yeah.
But most of the games aren't forward compatible because of licenses. And I think unless they can fix the license
they're going to
issue,
do that. Yeah, maybe.
I mean, because what Forza got delisted because of
they all do after a certain amount of time. Yeah.
Yeah. So unless they can fix the licensing issues, that they can bring those games forward to the next platform, because that's what they said with their backwards compatibility program. It's like it's easy to do; they just have to agree to it. And so I don't know. I rarely play like older than.
You're not playing Mass Effect every year.
Well, I've got the Legendary Edition.
You should.
So if I need to, or I could buy it on PC because I have a PC. So I don't know. I really don't know who it really benefits. If once again you're taking resources away of doing something where people want to play, and that is something probably a handheld PC game system that has a game-centric UI like Steam Big Picture mode or something like that you can play your Game Pass games there and potentially open up the door to other storefronts. So those games that aren't there, or playing more games in your library, and maybe take 10% from Steam. Steam gets 20%, Xbox gets 10%, Epic gets 12%, Xbox gets 5% for purchases. I don't know.
Yeah. Jose, do you have any closing thoughts on this? Because I got one more question for all of you.
I don't think it's a bad thing. I agree that they shouldn't put a lot of money and time into it, but I honestly think this is a PR move. I was
gonna say.
I think it's a pure, like, in a time when the olds, as you keep referring to us, are worried about like the games we played in our youth, or the games that were very formative to our lives. It's an easy way to say, like, well, look, we care about it over here at Xbox. I don't know about the blue guys and the Nintendo guys, because what's weird about
Nintendo's the
like,
worst.
They're the worst. Even though you can, that was funny too. Bond. That was funny. Even though they have the most games that are nostalgic to us, they're not easy to access. Like, until Switch did the Switch Online stuff, and those do work really well, but they chose those. You can't just go pick what you want. Anyway, I digress. I think it's a PR move. I think it's fine. I don't think it's going to be that much time and money. I think what it probably is focused on is exactly what Todd said. It's a licensing team. Like, their job is to focus on licensing, solving those problems. And that way Xbox can say that they can put that sticker, say we're backwards compatible, and they can put the rest of their time and money into games. I think that's what they're doing. That's my opinion.
So closing question, you kind of guys all talked about like handheld UI. What do you think it was a big mistake sticking with the Xbox One UI into the series consoles? And what if they keep sticking with it? You don't think so? I don't. I kind of.
Do you just hang out? Do you just hang out in the UI screen all the time?
No,
or
but
do you just
I
launch a
think
game?
I think I can't remember. We mentioned this in a previous news article, or we talked about before. Like, there is something special about going from one to the next. Like, you don't feel like you're on a PS4 anymore when you load up your PS5 UI. Even though I don't think the PS5 UI is that special at all, but it's different, and it feels like you made a jump, you made a step. So if we're still sticking with the UI that was in the Xbox One cursed generation, do you really think that's going to be a good move, Bacon? If we're still
People don't
staying
associate
with it?
that. They don't associate the UI
They
as
don't?
the issue. I don't think so.
Todd, let me hear your thoughts on this. What do you think about the Xbox UI?
Well, I think it's actually the problem with having backwards compatibility. This is like the true first generation backwards compatibility. Everybody had it. So quite honestly, to your point, I think having a UI that kind of carries over, having games that are cross-gen longer than they needed to, it essentially made this generation feel not special, because people didn't have to make games only for this generation. They could essentially go. That's why people say, oh, they've done what they can do this. No, they have to be constrained from the past and the future. So that's when you see a game like Hellblade and then UE 5 something, they look amazing, but how long did it take? Almost 4 years in. So I think, once again, fresh experiences, fresh UI, fresh, even the controller for the Xbox One to S and X, it's essentially very similar. So it doesn't feel like this is a big leap forward. Like, at least with the PlayStation did this thing, I expected there to be back paddles on the base controllers.
We're on the same page. That needs to happen.
Absolutely, Todd.
Screw the haptics, add the back pedal. That you're right.
Something
that is,
to make it feel like this is a leap forward for controls. Yeah.
You hear that, boys? Hear those pristine elite back pedals. That makes this special, or this controller special. I do like the haptics on the PS5 DualSense, but I don't think it's the better controller, Todd. I think the Xbox ergonomics, this is the better feeling controller, but I can't agree with you more on that. We've been talking about add the back pedals already. So I agree with you on that. We will. Oh, wait, Bacon, did you want to say anything about the UI? I think you're a fan of the old Windows 8 block.
I've never understood this UI argument.
I mean, I was a Windows Phone guy from the beginning, Bacon. And even
the UI is my pathway to the store to buy a game to then launch said game. Every time we got a new active background, I was like, oh, cool. I'll run home and add it on my dashboard. And then I never think about it again until they add the new one. It's my way to launch a game. I get into party chats when I'm in game and I just hit the Xbox button and I don't see any. I don't understand the UI argument. It is.
I think that's because,
in fact, I think they should get rid of UIs because it just takes up RAM and resources to run a UI in the background.
Jose, go ahead.
Counterpoint to Dan Bacon, I'm with you. Counterpoint. Look at Apple's phones, and I know I'm an Apple guy. They have had the same UI for 15
You're
generations.
right. You're right.
And here's why I think it works. It's the familiarity. You can iterate on it. You can upgrade it. You can make it look pretty, but it's the same UI because people know it and they know how to work it. It's simple. And so I don't. That's why I don't think that it hurt it to have the same UI, and they've even upgraded a little bit since this time. I think they were good upgrades. I like that they focused on it.
I think it's the best it's been for sure.
Wait. So, if I hear anybody about nostalgia, I think people want backwards compatible UI and go back to the blades.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Why does everyone think the blades are that good?
They weren't great.
From 360.
I don't think they're that great. I don't get it. Yeah. Whatever. How's it any
Your
different?
avatars hanging out, and versus PlayStation 2 to 3, and it was like 3 was.
Well, I mean, when you're comparing it to the PS3, what was it? The float? What was that?
The room where you met up with them. Like,
no, not PlayStation Home. That was crazy.
Oh my god!
That's what your UI
I
should
actually
be.
went to PlayStation. What was it?
Extra,
called?
or what is it? Third
the
Life
cross media bar. That's what it was. There was a cross media bar.
XMB.
Whatever. Anyway, Jose, so you do think it's a good idea that Xbox sticks with this?
I think it's good that they iterate on it and improve it, but keep it the same because that's how you get people into the system. The system. Because think about it like this. I hear what you're saying about getting something new and shiny, but imagine if the next Xbox you turned on and everything was 1,000% different. You'd be like, I don't like this.
Hate this.
This is weird. I don't know where anything's at. I don't know where my stuff's at. It would feel weird to you.
I mean, I guess you're right. I mean, look at Windows. It's
I mean, they're different, but they're basically the same.
I mean, it's just got it in the center now, kind of like Apple style. All right, guys, great conversation. Do we need to talk about Star Wars Outlaws? Do we need to?
It
do we have
looks
anything to
great.
I think it looks awesome.
do we-
And I will subscribe to Ubisoft Plus for 2 months and play 3 games.
Oh, here we go, guys. News
I don't
story
know about that.
number 4. It can be quick. We're into quick news stories at this point. The official story trailer for Star Wars Outlaws has arrived. Pre-order it today, and it will, thankfully for us, because we drafted Star Wars Outlaws, and it's a lock. August 30th, 2024. You can play up to 3 days early with Gold or Ultimate Edition, which includes the season pass.
Did you
this
see
a
the
single
price on
player?
that?
It was like $130.
$130.
But again, this goes to what I was saying. If you think your product is good, you charge us what you think we need to pay for it, and I'll have no problem with it. So unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to see this trailer, and I heard it was all cinematic. Did it have any gameplay?
Mm-mm.
How are we feeling on this? Is this going to be an eight banger slanger or a 7 mid
Star Wars, man.
Starfield?
Star Wars.
Chipotle Bear, you're a Star Wars guy. What did you think of the trailer?
I like the trailer. I like the
Looks a little
premise.
sneaky.
It is very sneaky, and they're
Han
kind
Solo.
of they're definitely touting the rebel scum, not the Jedi
Rebel
piece of it.
scum.
And so I think we will probably see Jedi. I don't think we will play as Jedi. I think that will be a very side part of the story, and I'm okay with that. Truly,
Hot question here: are we running into Luke, or can we just not deal with the Skywalker?
I don't think we're gonna.
And
run into
Han
Luke.
Solo.
I thought the Han. I mean, Han,
He was frozen. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that was a cool cameo, but I think they're focusing on just a different
which is good.
area of the game. But they showed Jabba in the trailer, so we're gonna see Jabba.
Yeah, I just
They're
saw
gonna have
him.
some other cameos, I'm sure. I think it looks fun. I definitely will play it. I will give the only criticism I will give is that
Mhm.
there's a lot of hate towards some of the facial cinematics. I don't hate them. I think they look fine, but they certainly don't look like Final Fantasy VII gorgeous, or honestly, I would argue even like Warzone. Like I think Warzone's facial stuff looks
Warzone's
better.
dude. Warzone's great.
So I think it looks
Call of
fun.
Duty.
I'm fully in day one. I'm all about it. I don't know about the
Day
like bonus
one.
edition, but I think it looks rad, dude. I've been high on it since they announced it. I think a Star Wars game that's not just being a Jedi, even though I love being a Jedi,
Yes,
I think that it's time. It's time to do that.
yes. Todd, I already know you're a Star Wars fan because I'm pretty sure you've got pictures with Jabba's slaves in one of your profile pictures. Talk to me.
I have pictures with the Twi'lek. I have pictures with Chewbacca. I've been known to hang out with some villainy and scum. Yes, I have. I love Star Wars games and I love the movies. I love Star Wars games more than I love the movies. It's so crazy.
Whoa.
Position, because you get original stories and
Yes.
largely they don't dwell into the known
Quick
characters
question.
we know.
Ben, what's your favorite Star Wars game? Got to give
You
me
know,
one.
it's-
You have to pick
This is
one.
gonna be so dumb, but I love Star Wars Unleashed. I love that game.
Really? It was
Force
a good game.
Unleashed, great game.
It's great.
Oh yeah, I loved that game so much. But
Okay.
yeah, 2 not so good, but first one's really good. And once again, original story,
Yes. Yes.
original character, and I like it when they do that. Just same things with Fallen Order.
Oh, I
it
love
with
the
original.
Fallen Order. Yeah.
So yeah, this one's great because it's focusing on the underworld. We've got the different crime bosses, the lords. What is it? The the huts. You've got a couple different ones. The pikes, which were really introduced in I think that was Boba Fett in that. And the thing that is making me excited also, and there's also a cameo from Kira, who is in the Solo movie, who took over the Black Sun from Darth Maul. So she took over the crime syndicate. So, but it's actually not Emilia Clarke, the voice. So it's going to be that. But I'm excited for this. I think it's cool. I still think this company has, or this developer's made the Avatar game, which was like basically Far Cry on Pandora. They also made the Division. But the funny part is they made Just Dance Now in 2014. So I'm thinking, are we going to get like a dance session? Like,
wasn't there the Star Wars dancing?
Connect?
Yes.
The Star Wars Connect. Are we going to get that in this game? There's going to be a dance off or
I'm
something?
Han Solo. I'm Han Solo.
I
I'm
need
Han
it. But I'm so
Solo,
excited. I don't know what the
Solo.
combat is going to be. And that's the problem. It's like they haven't shown it. They showed a little bit of like some things, but I want to see what the combat is like because I don't want it just to be a Far Cry game. I want it to truly feel like it's doing something cool.
It
and
looks a
neat.
little bit stealthy, like Splinters,
Yeah.
like Division-y, right? Like I think that'll be good. Bacon, Before I throw it over to you, I gotta ask Todd one more question. He was talking about the solo movie. So, that's what I was going to ask you. Which games are canon and which games aren't? Are all things since Disney took over considered?
Battlefront was the first canon game.
Okay.
Other than that, then it is.
Well, but the Jedi
games are as well.
Do we know if this is?
I should be.
Okay, so you're saying anything from the Disney acquisition, they're considering it. Okay.
Correct.
Bacon. I don't even think Bacon likes Star Wars.
Dude, my birthday is May 4th, bro. I'm the biggest Star Wars fan on the planet. So this game.
Did you play Shadows of the Empire?
No.
Well, there we go.
This game reminds me of the best Star Wars movie, which is Rogue One, and it is the best one, hands down. I'm not even going to hear arguments on that.
It's a little bit of a hot take, but I like it. Spicy.
Dude, Rogue One's fantastic.
Spin-off?
Because it's not just what we were talking about just a minute ago. It's not Jedi related. It's
I'm the Force. The Force is
Rogue One is just regular people making a difference. I was going to subscribe to Ubisoft Plus when that pirate game just came out.
Yeah, whatever happened to that? Yeah, you just
glad I didn't because that game looks terrible.
What's
but now that this is coming out, I can play this, and I can play Prince of Persia, and I can play the new Assassin's Creed for $15 a month, 2 months, done, out. $30 to get all those games. You can cancel at any time, and you get the complete edition. So,
disclaimer: Bacon is also a Ubisoft
I am
shareholder.
Not. I would never buy stock in that company. But again, like Deja Vu said in the chat, it's on the Snowdrop engine, which was a pretty good darn engine. And Massive is a really good developer. I mean, say what you want about the Dark Zone and stuff in the Division. The actual base game of the Division was great.
It was a great game. The first one was special, man. I really loved that game.
The Dark Zone gave me ass cancer, and I'll never forgive them for that. But I'm all on board. I love Star Wars. These movies were such a part of my childhood that it's just shocking. I remember seeing them in the theaters. So let's go.
Let's go. Shout out to the chat. Matt Valdez said Bond, Bacon Bond, because we all know Sarah Bond's biggest crush.
Sarah Bond can do no wrong in my eyes, sir.
And Deja Vu said there was a lot of problems with new games coming out that had to play on new console and old console at the same time to make more sales. Yeah, we're still in that. Yeah. Hasn't there only been like
the
2 or 3 games on each?
Gen.
Like
the next one is cross-gen. Yes, sir.
I mean, whatever.
I mean, you can't abandon 200 million consoles, but this is
whatever.
Sad.
It's whatever. Shout out to Star Wars Outlaws. We did draft it. I'll wait and see. I usually get to the Star Wars games later on, but I always enjoy them, and especially the Jedi games. Those games have just blown me away. So I'm
great.
Very thankful, but that's also Respawn. So news story 2, 3, 4, number 5. And I just thought this was really cool. I don't know if you guys got a chance to watch this video, and it is titled Beyond Xbox Field Trips Learning Through Play. Shout out to all those teachers out there. Shout out to Luke. Shout out to Jose. And I wanted to ask him, for some, gaming is seen as just a form of entertainment, but studies show it can help foster important life skills like problem solving, team building, communication, and analytical thinking. Xbox Field Trips is the first of its kind series of audio learning journeys that helps children to develop important soft skills. See the story of Max, Connor, I think it says Taffy, and Aaliyah as they embark on virtual field trips into the world of Xbox and begin a new journey of learning. Search Xbox Field Trips on Spotify to listen now. This is very cool. If you get a chance, go watch the video. But basically, it showed students playing games like Grounded or Minecraft, Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
And while they were playing through Spotify, they were learning at the same time, getting information about what they were doing and what they were interacting with in the game while they're playing. And I thought this was so cool, Jose. Like, how cool would it have been when we were teachers or even students to have be like, all right, guys, let's go on an adventure and Sea of Thieves. And you're actually sending them information in through audio, but also visually they're seeing and they're exploring and playing and interacting. This is, to me, Jose, this kind of seems like a realistic I never thought about it. Like, just add audio, some sort of audio form to like a podcast while they're playing something. So you are the resident teacher. I'd love to hear what Matt would have to say about this, and Luke. Also, I just want to say quickly, I said GG Xbox GG with the nerd chat. Xbox wrote back to us and said GG's. So we're on Xbox's map. We're Jose, we're gonna get picked up onto the official Xbox podcast.
Hey, look, there's some people want to ride too. Pick them up.
So Jose, educator, what did you think of this cool video with learning and Xbox field trips?
You know, what's funny is at first I was honestly a little like not in favor for two reasons. But let me back up, because I ended up really liking it by the end. The first issue that I do have, I want to say, is the thought process behind this is basically that all you need to learn is facts. Like, because that's really what the videos are. Is like, did you know that like ancient map makers or cartographers, like, and it was cool. I'm not hating on it.
Something,
but like, that's not what education really is. Like, it's not just memorizing facts anymore. Like,
but
really
it's
isn't.
how you learn the facts.
The other reason I didn't actually love the initial part of it was that the premise of this is that these kids are so ingrained in games that they refuse to do anything else. Like, they won't go to school. They won't pay attention. I don't love that message. I don't love the message that like we just allow them to do it. We're just going to put learning in their games.
Okay.
But I do agree with you. And really, I think where XX is going to go with this is that it is becoming so much more of a way that kids are consuming media today to play games. And especially as Xbox really, I think, is slowly trying to get more into those family game realms. Like, yes, we have Activision and Warzone and the Dead Spaces, but they really are trying to build experiences, Minecraft and Sea of Thieves and stuff like that kids can play. I don't know why it would be, I don't know why it would hurt them to add this kind of learning. That's where I'm kind of landing on, is that I think it would be cool. And I do admit that a big piece of this, what they're talking about, is the skill-based piece of it.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
Yes, communication and skills that are developed in gaming. Like, I think about it all the time when we play Warzone. Even though like we're laughing at each other and we're making fun of each other, Dan's always saying it's everybody's one shot and why aren't we with him? It does teach us. It does teach us communication skills, right? It does teach us that like you have to plan ahead, you have to share, you have to comms. It teaches just that, because I can tell you, and I'm not criticizing the kids I work with. I love my students, but communication is a big issue. And truly coming out of the pandemic, there was a severe issue with kids of like, they don't want to talk to people. They don't want to share their ideas, like any of those kinds of things. And so I really admire what they're trying to do. Deja's got something hot. He said, guys. Oh, that's probably Deja.
Guys, get over here.
Guys, where are you? You didn't tell us you were over there. I don't know what you expect. So I think this is cool. I definitely am going to follow along this. I want to see where the story goes. I want to know how it ends. And honestly, maybe it is something really cool, because I will tell you, and I, again, having observed Nell, Bacon's wife, and when I used to teach, my favorite times teaching ever were the times where it felt like we were playing in my classroom. We were learning, I assure you, and we were working very hard. Like, I made my kids work really hard, but we played cool games. We did cool projects. We did cool scenarios. As a matter of fact, today I got a crazy email from this lady in the district who was like, happened to find my files in Google Drive. I don't know how that's possible.
Thank you for your lessons.
And she was like, hey, I saw this whole unit you did on like zombies. Will you talk to me about it one time? And I was like, yeah, sure. I mean, and I started thinking about that project, and I was like, man, that was a really fun project. I had a great time. I bet my students did too. And so I do think there's an element of making learning play that is very important, especially in today's education of like testing and like so focused on just achievement. If kids don't enjoy what they're doing, they're not going to do it, man. Like straight up, like even my daughters, I have to make cleaning fun. I have to put on music and be silly and like, let's do this together and I'll help you. Because if I'm just like, go clean, that doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? And so
go clean up. Everybody go clean up. We had a little fun. Now it's begun.
Please.
Who the is that guy?
You don't play that song?
No, I absolutely did not play that song. Anyway, those are my thoughts, but I think it's cool. I don't think this is going to replace education. Let me be very clear, but I think it is a cool thing they're trying. Yeah.
Todd, I believe you have children, correct?
I have an 18-year-old.
Okay.
He's going to be an educator.
Oh, wow.
Actually, he's going to
music
go
education.
Are you? Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So my son is taking a lot of courses that are geared towards college right now. One was microecon, and he had to take he had to write papers on it, and he used gaming and something that he knew, like he used microtransactions and things like that. And also like gotcha boxes and loot boxes.
Oh,
and
the loot
he used that as for an
boxes.
example. So, and his teacher appreciated that he could take a real world example and apply to a concept. So I think that's something where you engage with students and what they're into. The funny part was, I think about this, Assassin's Creed did basically they called it Discovery Tour.
Yes, that was
and
crazy.
where you could take a tour of ancient Egypt,
Yeah.
ancient Greece.
That's
I
basically
think
what
they
this
even like
is,
they did
yeah.
like some of the ancient Paris, or like ancient Paris as well. So I think you can do tools, even like VR is a teaching tool to bring things alive that you probably are like, well, that's old and I don't understand it. It's not alive. It's like when you see Hamilton. It's, it's exciting. It's making it's taking something that can be very dry and adding flavor to it. And that really speaks to students. Like Les Mis is my son's favorite show. It's about the French Revolution, but he just taught him and he loved it. So it will always carry with him. So I like anything that makes it fun and enjoyable and something that kids do. Great. But to your point, Jose, students, my son got in trouble for using his phone as a senior. I'm like, yeah,
I know, it's a reality we're in, man.
Bacon, any thoughts on the field trips? Or
you got to think about it through the lens of maybe a kid who's dyslexic or a kid who might be autistic. Other ways to reach kids who don't want to be embarrassed about whatever they're dealing with in their life. And I'm not an educator. My wife's way smarter than me. But finding a way to make learning interesting to kids who might struggle in these areas, and they could do it privately and on their own and still learn stuff while having something that keeps them engaged. I'm all for it. Go for it. Do it for every game.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you're going to learn on Gears of War, but
yeah, I mean,
war is hell, Bacon. That's what you learn.
This is the Nasher.
It can be applied to only certain games, but I do appreciate the effort. And
Right.
Todd, you brought up a really good point. I remember that in Assassin's Creed, I think it was either Odyssey or Origins, and it was really detailed. Like you could spend literally like another 20 hours just exploring certain aspects of that game and hearing the lectures on it. So very cool. I just wanted to shout that out on the Xbox field trips. Last story for the night. And I saw Todd repost this on his X platform. War never changes, but your setup will. See you next week. Our friends over at Elgato have been hard at work on something special. Limited quantities of this Fallout merchandise, your stream decks, your microphones, your what else is on there?
Profile, mic arm.
This, I mean, I'm all Elgato kitted out here with. Well, I guess I only have two things. But Todd, I saw you reposted this. So, are you a big Fallout fan, or are you just a big Elgato fan, or both?
I just watched the first episode of the show. Absolutely great. I love it. I've always loved Fallout's aesthetic.
Oh yeah,
what they do with all of their themes, the world, the Nuka-Cola, the Fallout Boy, Pit Boy. I mean, it's fantastic, and the fact that they're blending this with things that people can use practically versus just like, hey, it's a Pit Boy on your hand that you never use, and this is cool. I had an Elgato Wave 3, it broke. I've been using kind of a janky mic for right now, but I've wanted to get into the XLR world, and this is a $100 XLR mic, and I would need some type of box, obviously, for it. So this might get me into it because it's kind of cool.
It's super cool.
This thing's awesome. Bacon. Wait, you're not a big Fallout guy, so you're probably just like
I'm not, but I'm a fan of anything that looks cool, and that looks cool. I have all Elgato crap too, and I don't need this, but I'll probably buy all of it.
No, you're not.
My mic arm's a little weak, but
I'll sell you mine because I want to get the white one.
I'm thinking of getting a new desk, and I might ask for one for my birthday. And I'm thinking all this stuff would look really good on a new desk. So
they can go the stand-up desk, dude. I love mine. It's been a game changer for me.
Yeah,
I'm too lazy to stand up. I'm not.
It's the ass cancer, right?
Hold on, I'm going to use the same excuse people who play on console use. I work at a computer all day. I don't want to come
wanna
home and work on it. I
stand
stand
my
all day,
desk.
and I don't want to come home and game standing up.
Okay.
Well, you could do both. It moves up and down. I'm just saying. Sometimes when I play for like 4 hours, I'm like, I don't want to stop, but I need to stand up for a
I
minute.
was eyeballing the desk on Amazon the other day, and I'm like, God, do I pull that trigger? I'll
Dude,
get in
I love
trouble.
my IKEA table. It's all about you got to have the width and girth.
Wait till you
Jose.
see
You got to
what
have the
I'm thinking again.
long width. And
That's what
girth
she
there.
said.
Not necessarily the length. I'm telling you guys, you got to have this
Distance.
The depth.
Yes. So, quick question to you all on this last news story. With all this Fallout hype going on right now, we've got updates, like you said, Bacon. We've got the show popping off. We've got this random. Come on, who thought that there's going to be this collab with Elgato and them going so hard on the microphone and stream decks?
Pretty dope.
Are we
Amazon.
going to see some sort of Fallout announcement at Summer Xbox?
New
Show?
Vegas. New Vegas
Isn't
remaster.
Elder Scrolls next?
Oh, I forgot about the
Elder
remake.
Scrolls is
or
next,
Oblivion
bro.
Rumors. Todd, closing thoughts. Are we going to see something Fallout, or is this just because of the show?
I hope so, because we
Yes.
haven't had a new Fallout game since '76. Obviously, they're having it for free on Prime and things like now.
Yeah.
But I think they do need to bring back the iconic games 3 and New Vegas,
remaster
and
that.
they need to hire a studio like a Blue Point. Not Blue Point, but Xbox needs a studio. That's all they do. They just
Yes.
remake their old games and let the other studios cook on new stuff.
Yes.
Yes, and then they can also do Dead Space 2 after New Vegas.
I'm all for that.
All right, guys, that has been the Xbox news for the week. Let's jump into what have we been playing and or watching. I'm gonna throw it over to our number one guest, Todd. What have you been playing or watching? I mean, you just said you're watching Fallout. Saw the first episode, great. But what have you been gaming?
So gaming, I'm probably one of the few people that have GameFly. So GameFly
That is incredible.
affords me.
That's right. You toast about that all the time in the Discord.
I remember hearing that too.
It's excellent because I can play new
Do you have
games.
GameFly over Game Pass?
I have both.
Okay.
I have Game Pass. I have
He's a
everything.
baller.
I even have Nintendo Online, and I never play online.
Yeah, but that's
So,
like $20. That's doable.
Exactly. But it's been great because
new
I've gotten to
games.
play like every new release this year
That's a
from
good idea.
every and I've loved it because it's been able like, oh, I tried Dragon's Dogma 2. That's a $70 game. I tried it.
for you,
I found
yeah.
the fun, and then I bounced. I
Nice.
played and beat Banishers. Absolutely love Banishers.
hearing good
It's a
things.
hidden gem. So good. And I'm getting, because I'm loving Shogun, I'm getting Rise of
Ghost-
the Ronin
oh.
from GameFly. So like I'm loving it because I like to dip in and try different things, and it's really allowed me to try things and right now I've actually, this is so silly, I'm playing Destiny 2 Lightfall because I dipped out for a long time, and the final Shape trailer came out, and so I'm like,
Really?
yeah, I gotta get back into it. So
I'm tempted,
yeah.
you guys. I never did Lightfall either. No, I can't go. back
People
to
said
I know,
people
I
are real
never did
high
either,
on
so,
Final Shape
yeah.
though, dude.
that. Bacon, are we going back to Destiny 2?
No, we're not. We'll stay in Warzone, bro.
Oh. So you've been dipping into a lot of things. Anything else you want to shout out watching wise? Are you watching Vanderpump and Summer House on Bravo?
Nobody.
I'm
watches
watching
those damn-
X-Men 97.
Okay, a lot of people have been
Ooh.
saying that.
Oh, I just watched episode 5, and if I can tell you that it's the best X-Men have been since
Really?
Logan. Honestly.
Logan?
I mean, it's not better than Logan because Logan is like, but it is the best like X-Men team film.
Well, is it better than
on the
X2
screen.
X-Men United with Nightcrawler?
Is that a joke?
I mean, I do love the First Class. I love the second film. I love Days of Future Past. But
Days
yeah,
of Future Past. See, I don't know. Days of Future Past to me, I was like, man, I was tearing up so much at the end of that, Todd, when he goes back and Wolverine's back.
Oh,
I
yeah,
was like,
it's
oh
great.
my, that's my X-Men. Those Fox
It's great.
X-Men.
X-Men 97 is so good. Animation's great. They've done some things, and it has stakes. So I appreciate for them for doing.
Do I need to get through the original series?
No, by all means.
Okay.
You can watch the last episode if you want for craps and giggles.
Does it
but it's not
continue
like-
on off of that?
It's exactly right after. It's like,
wow. See now?
yeah.
Okay. Bacon, what about you? What have you been playing? And Shogun.
I am 31 hours into my Mass Effect
Yes,
playthrough. I got the
yes.
completionist achievement last night. Got all the small ones done.
Do you have all the achievements? To
I
this
have
point?
Ilos next, and I still haven't gotten my romantic relationship.
It happens right before then, so you better be on the good side.
Because I got Liara. We almost kissed, and then Joker interrupted us.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. You're good.
It's
You're good. You
set
should
to
be
go,
good.
so I
You
can
should
go
be
to
good.
Ilos and not because I'm concerned I'm going to miss
She's
it.
gonna seduce you. Don't worry about it.
I love that game.
Me
I just
too,
can't talk
Bacon.
about it anymore.
I
Wait, did
I've
anybody
also-
romance Jack? Am I the only one that
Yes.
romanced Jack?
Dan's a big fan.
He's.
Big
I
fan
love
of it.
Jack. I just met
I
up with her and we made out at the Grissom Academy. Of course, Jack's the
I
best.
might be romancing
Sweet.
Jack next. That's my
Yeah.
goal.
Oh,
in
she's
life.
the best. She's a tough egg to crack.
Then with our little argument with the trophy room I got into, I been playing Spider-Man in super ultra wide, high frame rates. It's great. Love that game.
Are you replaying it? Or
I
you
am.
just like jumped in just to play?
No, I'm replaying it. I want to play them all on PC. I got to start Days Gone. I got so many games to play. It's ridiculous, bro. But Shogun. I am
Greatest
sorry.
TV show
I am
ever.
So good, Dan.
Better than
I'm-
Breaking Bad.
It is the best show
one season.
ever
You can't do that.
freaking made.
Better than
Dude, this
Sopranos.
last episode with what takes place in the last episode. Are you freaking kidding me?
better than the
You could
last
be that
Samurai.
loyal. You could be
Yeah,
that
oh.
loyal. Yes, it is better than Last
Mhm.
Samurai, and that's my favorite movie of all time.
Better than Vanilla Sky.
Oh,
That's every movie's better than Vanilla Sky.
dude, I love it so much that I bought the novel, and it'll be here on Saturday. 1,200 freaking pages, and I'm going to read it. And I'm not a reader, folks. I didn't go to college. I barely graduated high school. My wife told me she would pay me $5 million if I finished that book.
We have it in writing now, just for the record.
And we don't have $5 million. So she's pretty confident I'm not going to finish that book. I have never in my life been more in tune to a show with freaking subtitles. It is absolutely absurd. And then I also watched the first episode of Fallout, and it's super good.
I can't wait. I
can't
tried
wait
to get
to.
Allie. And she's like,
It's so
I
good.
kid you not, you guys. I was like, hey, do you want to watch this new show on Amazon Prime? It's called Fallout. And she's like, is that a video game? Somehow she knew. I was like, what?
Because the only shows you
Fallout?
recommend are
I was
video
like,
games.
how did you know that?
I
She
did
doesn't
know. I didn't
Fallout.
think they could film it and make it interesting like they have, and all the reviews I've been hearing. Dude, the show's awesome. So
Did Nell watch it with you, Bacon, or no?
I'm hoping, Bacon, this makes you want to go play the game because I think you.
I will now
Fallout
that
4
we got the
is
next
good.
gen update that we can play it now with.
See, can
higher
you
frame
explain
rate.
it to me really quickly? I thought Fallout 4 was already 4K 60 with
It is, but
backwards
there's
and-
quality of life improvements and other stuff that's coming to it on the 25th of this month, I believe, is the date. We have it on
Bacon.
PC, so
Fallout is worth your time. Fallout 4 is worth your time, especially on
It is.
PC.
It's so good, dude.
I really enjoy it, especially because the other games, Bacon, didn't have a sprint. And that drove me crazy because I went back after playing Fallout 4. That was my first one. Then I went back to play 3 in New Vegas, and I was like, this is a little rough, but I do think Fallout 4 is worth your time. It's such a cool setting and world. So, Jose, what about you? What have you been playing and or what? Are you still chugging away at Justice League?
Suicide Squad. I didn't actually play any of it this week, not because I'm against it. I do want to go back. It's because every time I got on, my friends were like, "Come over to Warzone."
I
And was
know
like,
we've been going
that's a
hard in
better idea.
Warzone, you guys.
But it's
7
been-
wins on Resurgence on Rebirth Island. We're getting that
It's-
nuke.
It's been really fun, man, and I've really enjoyed that. Like, I genuinely have a great time. We play together, laughing and stuff, and it's good. That's all I've really been playing. Other than actually, I take back on my Ally. I started The Secret of Monkey Island. I've always wanted to play those games. I've never played
Yeah.
it. Ryan McCaffrey, IGN, is
Yeah,
like
I
super
know.
high on him, and I was like, this is a perfect game to play on it. So
How
I did
is it
start
so
playing
far?
it there. It's cool. It's basically like a story based game, but I
Uh-huh.
think I'm just kind of to my first puzzle area. And it is a little slow, I'll be honest with you, but that's what's great for the Ally is like I don't have to be super invested. I can be doing kind of other stuff, watching the girls and stuff. In addition, on my Ally, I was a little scared, but it's actually been awesome. I started Evil West because it's in Game Pass right now. It runs really well on the Ally. Like, I was surprised because I have everything in high settings, even a couple on epic settings, and it's crunching through it really well. I will say there's a couple times in some of the darker areas where it is a little bit hard to see because it's doing HDR stuff and it just wasn't meant to be viewed on an 8-inch screen. You know what I'm saying? But it plays smoothly. I haven't had any issues. I think it's a cool story. It's a basic story. It is very like God of War of like linear. You're going to upgrade your weapons. But even because it has elements where you're shooting a gun both kind of like a blind trigger and then also like aiming. And I thought that'd be hard on the ally. It works great, man. So I definitely will play Evil West on there. It's a great game when I'm taking the girls to like gymnastics or whatever. Definitely check it out. If you just want like a blind, like decent story about like monsters and vampires in the Wild West, and you're basically shooting them and cutting them up, and definitely a little gory. I wouldn't play it around like small people or like small children, I mean, or at work or anything, but it was a very cool game, man. So that's what I've been playing a little bit this week. Definitely happy to get back into the ally a little bit. And of course, looking forward to, I do want to finish Suicide Squad. I will finish Suicide Squad at some point. Oh, and then movies, Shogun, amazing. The only other thing I started watching this week was Night Swim. It's a movie on Peacock. It's just dropped. It's about a haunted swimming pool is the best way I can describe it, which sounds really dumb. And it's not the best horror movie I've ever seen, but it's fine. It's interesting. It's something good to have on while I'm probably editing the show later tonight. And then also, I haven't started The Exorcist movie. It's on Peacock, the new one, the one with the two girls.
I need to watch the original.
And I'm worried they're going to take it off. And I'm like, I need to watch it, but it's like a 2-hour movie. And I don't think it's one I can have while I'm working because I need to pay attention to it. But I love horror movies. So I'm really excited to check that out as well. And then, of course, Fallout as soon as I'm going to try to see if I can get my wife to watch it. I think she'll know it's a video game too, but she watched Last of Us. She really enjoyed that.
Yeah, but I think Last of Us was a show already as it was, man.
Yeah.
But I'm saying it's
the show.
But she liked Walking Dead. She likes some of those like crazy apocalyptic stuff. So I'm hoping
she watched Halo.
I didn't even try with Halo. Like that's a no. But like I knew that one from a gate. That's a no. But I think she might like Fallout, and I think it's one of those. If I can get her past episode 1, she's probably in. You see what I'm saying? So I want to try that hopefully this weekend. But that's what I've been up to.
Very cool. I don't, like Bacon said, I don't have much to add. Just been dropping Warzone, Mass Effect 3. I'm loving Mass Effect 3, Bacon. I just love Mass Effect every time I play it. I'm on Tuchanka trying to disarm the bomb. Okay, we're gonna have to decide, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna cure the genophage or not? I don't know. I'm Renegade Shepherd now, full Renegade. My scars went away, and now they're coming back because I'm turning to the dark side right now. So the scars are coming back.
Cure the genophage
because I don't trust the Krogan. That's why
you don't like Rex.
I don't trust the Krogan, Bacon. They were too powerful before. There's a reason the Taurians and the Solarians put the genophage on. Okay, but anyway,
idiot,
Jose, you have Peacock Premium, and you're telling me you're watching some random Deadpool movie, and you're not watching Vanderpump.
I didn't say Deadpool. I said swimming pool
and Summer House on there.
Why would I watch Summer House?
Okay, anyway, so instead of watching Fallout episode 1 later tonight, I think I'm gonna watch Bacon's #1 movie right here in 4K Ultra UHD Vanilla Sky.
That cover art is uninspiring.
The greatest sci-fi nostalgia consequences.
Todd doesn't agree. That's a terrible movie. I don't care what anyone says.
Everybody go watch Tom Cruise in the underrated movie of a generation, science fiction drama.
I can't tell if he's trolling me or not.
Cameron Diaz, Consequences. I don't even want to spoil it.
Well, he's trolling.
Vanilla Sky. Guys, let's close the show like we always do with the best food we had this week. Jose, I need you to add. I had a great week so far. I got a Chipotle burrito. And I'm telling you guys, this one over here on Union, they don't miss, Jose. I'm blessed with one of the, and to be fair, also one of the first Chipotles probably in Colorado. Let's be real, Jose. They were there.
No, because they weren't there. They were across the street.
Yeah, but that's the same one. Okay.
I know. It's
been there since we were in high school. Mm-hmm. And us boomers were in high school like 20 years ago. So
in the 90s.
It wasn't there in the 90s, but we were in high school in the 90s. So shout out to Chipotle. That was awesome. Also went and got sushi again. And it was freaking delicious. Spicy Girl, Volcano, standard. So please add a Chipotle burrito.
Orion? You go to Orion?
Yes, absolutely, of course. And then what was the last one? I think you need to add 1 quarter pounder with cheese and 1 Big Mac for me to
Jesus, okay.
List.
You're feeding into what Todd said when he started the episode.
You're making us look bad, man.
Your unhealthiness.
Speaking of, I'm going to pull up my numbers right now. And speaking of Todd, what was the best food you had this week?
So one would be Filipino food. My wife and my wife and I are going to be catering my son's open house, and my wife is Filipino, and she wants to have this part of my son's culture. So fantastic Filipino food at this place called Casina, and I had something called humba. I'd never had it before. It is pork belly. It's marinated with soy sauce, some sweet pineapple. It is to die for. It's the most tender pork belly in the world. Love that. Phenomenal. And the other thing is Costco. It is their pork soup dumplings.
Oh my
And I
god, sounds
steam 'em.
incredible.
They're so good. Get the bamboo steamer out, put them on for about 11 minutes, take them out. Delicious.
That's not Todd. Does your wife cook awesome Filipino food?
She does.
Does
can't
she
eat a
make
lot of it
awesome?
'cause she's gluten intolerant, but she will make it for us. Yeah.
Does she make delicious lumpia?
Lumpia, tocino.
Oh
Yeah,
my
all
god, I
that,
love lumpia. So
pancits,
good.
all that.
What's
good
that?
stuff.
What's lumpia?
Lumpia is like an egg roll.
Oh,
But
sounds
they're so good,
incredible.
Dan.
Sounds
They're so-
incredible.
I could eat 1,000 of them.
Yeah, they're delicious.
Who has not shared? Is it
Bacon and me.
Bacon, go ahead.
I have nothing to add to the ticker. I've had a pretty healthy week this week, Dan.
Good job, buddy.
No
I
37
was
pizzas
saying-
eaten in a week. Nothing really to report. We always buy a ham and then cook a ham after the Easter holiday, and then a whole ham for 2 people, and then we have ham for like 18
Oh, yeah,
days
the
after
ham.
that. So I'm really enjoying the ham, and it's great. But a real quick question: when you guys go to buy hot dogs at the grocery store, does your wife go to the ballpark Franks, or does she go for like designer hot dogs?
Ballpark beef franks.
Designer
only.
hot dogs. Whoa, whoa. What is
Hebrew
that?
National.
Ballpark or Hebrews National is good. Ballpark all beef, specifically
I-
beef, bun size beef franks.
I tried to talk her into buying some designer hot dogs, and
What
she's
the
like,
hell's-
"Nah, ballpark for me, bro." And I'm not paying $8 for hot dogs. And then we go to the gummy worm aisle, and she spent $7 on gummy worms. And I'm like,
Well, that's acceptable.
Your wife bought hot dogs and gummy worms. Why are you complaining?
Yeah.
I'm just looking like for some biker gyms or like some high end hot dogs here. But
Does
she's
Biker Jim
always-
sell in the store?
Yes, they're in King Supers.
Oh, I don't go to King Supers. It's too crazy there.
You're a Safeway guy or a natural
He
grocery?
probably has it delivered. Guys,
No.
update on my cholesterol number since Todd asked. My cholesterol is at 174 in the green range. My triglycerides, normal value, less than or greater than 200 is good. I'm at 101. HDL, normal value, greater than or equal to 40. I'm at 44. Cholesterol, non-HDL, normal value, less than or equal to 189.
Is
I'm
the
at
HIPAA violation?
130. LDL, 110. Okay, Todd, do I
Okay.
pass your screen?
Dan, how old are you?
39.
Okay, you're coming to the threshold.
Yeah, you're a young
where it all goes
bro.
downhill after this. One cheeseburger will raise your cholesterol.
No, you're
by like
scaring
50
me.
points.
Jose, what was the best food you had this week?
I didn't have a crazy week either. I did have one Chipotle burrito. I added that to the ticker already. And I also, my wife got these things from Sam's for me. They're called loaded nacho bites.
Wait.
basically-
Sam's?
You're Sam's and Costco?
Oh,
Double dip?
Do I have to do a disclaimer?
Yes.
I actually
you
work on
own.
that product.
On
Gee,
what?
really? Really?
Nachos.
I
Is it
she
OEP?
bought them. She was at the store without me. I was doing some of those shit, and she sent me a picture. Was like, I think you'd like these. I was like, you are absolutely right. I would like those.
The
So-
disclaimer: I cannot say if they're good or bad, but I make
Disclaimer.
I
We have a real guy, Jose, world premiere breaking news.
Exclusive world premiere.
Love it. Disclaimer. Explain this to me again. What are you disclaiming?
So I work for General Mills. So I
Oh my
work in
gosh.
our snacks division. So I work on products like Dunkaroos. I work on
Dunkaroos.
the stuffed old El
Dunkaroos are
Paso
still around.
foods, like
Ooh.
mini stuffed
okay.
taco bites, and also the nacho bites. So those just launched.
Nacho bites?
Well, I don't want to step on Todd's toes, but I thought they were delicious. They're cool. They're a great little snack. I'm enjoying them quite a bit.
Can you post that online?
Yeah, I'll make a short of it. Post it. Be like,
Yes.
shout out to Todd Oxtra for this.
I
They're
cannot
very good.
make a
General
claim on
Mills,
any of that.
General Mills.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is my words, not Todd's. But no, they're good, man. I definitely recommend them. I mean, they're solid. I love them. So anyway, that's what I had this week.
Guys, Deja Vu said, am I the only one who eats Panda Express once a week? Yes. We have
No, he's not.
226 subs. We have eaten 101 Popeyes spicy or regular chicken sandwiches. Mostly I have eaten 71 breakfast burritos. Chipotle and I are making work now. 21 Chipotle burritos. We're kicking that number up. Respectable. 31 Big Macs quarter pounder with cheeses devoured, and 66 pizzas eaten. Guys, this has been the Nerd Chat episode 154, Dead Space. My name is Daddy Diwali. You can follow me at Daddy Diwali across the show or on all social media. You can follow the show at the Nerd Chat Podcast on all of your socials. Chipotle Bear, where can people find you?
You can find me Chipotle_Bear on most things, or Chipotle Bear, just depends what you're looking. Always feel free to shout out. Huge shout out to Todd. Todd, thank you for coming on, man. Especially we didn't give him a lot of notice, so I'm very grateful.
Yes.
Definitely go check out Super Friends Unite, Co-op Friends. I'm sorry. Co friends and Mark, love Mark. I love his content, man, on Instagram. He's got the reels down. But honestly, just thank you for listening. If you have a second and want to throw us a thumbs up or a subscribe if you haven't already, we'd appreciate it. Otherwise, thanks for listening, and definitely go support our friends too, XCP, Logan, Ains, the Season Gaming, and of course Joe and Kyle over at the Trophy Room. Just we honestly live in a bubble of podcasting that's really great, man. People are really nice to each other, supportive of each other, help each other out, and great content. We learn lots of stuff every week, so appreciate all the support. And joining us as always, he's going to be gone watching golf hopefully this weekend, not playing as much Mass Effect. X Bacon Gaming. Where can people find you?
You can find me at X Bacon Gaming across all your socials. I will be not watching many podcasts because I'll be watching the Masters this week, and I am officially boycotting the Trophy Room.
All right, world breaking
war,
breaking
world
news.
exclusive world premiere.
Bacon is he's no longer a fan of PS Trophy Room. Shout out to Matt Valdez, great show, and thank you for your service, Todd. Yes, absolutely, thank you, Todd. Thank you for your service, and thank you for your service for joining us tonight. It has been a blast. I have so many more questions about the Air Force. I could talk to you about that all night, and your video game history, and now General Mills. I have to start looking up some snacks over there. Todd,
you don't ever want to hear about the Army. You never asked me about the Army.
I have more. I'll be honest, Bacon. I do have more of an interest in F-22 Raptors, and cool fighter jets than the Army.
The movie Maverick.
I know it's not.
It's not
Air Force
how
is awesome.
Air Force works, bro.
Space Force now. Come on, it's just more cool. Shout out to Todd of War, Todd Oxtra over at X platform. Like Jose said, check him out on Secret Friends Unite and Co-op Mode. Todd, where can people find you? Even though I basically said most of it right there. Todd, you are muted.
Oopsie. I've never been on a podcast before. I don't know how this works. I'm on Threads a lot more recently, actually. At T Oxtra on Threads, at Secret Friends Unite on Threads, and also secretfriendsunite.com. And we have a Patreon, patreon.com/Secret Friends Unite. We do awesome stuff. If you like geek media, that's what Secret Friends Unite is. We do a Star Wars podcast, a Star Trek podcast, and also video games.
That is incredible. How does he do that so much?
I'm only on 2 of them.
We can only hold down barely one. As always, USAF lovers, F-22 Raptor. See you online.
See you online.
See you online.
See you online.
So let me ask you a question about the tip cup, because I had a little thing with the calzone guy there this week. I go to drop $1 in the tip jar, and just as I'm about to drop it in, he looks the other way. So then, as I'm leaving, he gives me a look like, thanks for nothing.
You got no credit.
Exactly. It's like I'm throwing $1 away. I mean, if they don't notice it, what's the point?
So you don't make a habit of giving to the blind.
The Nerd Chat is an Xbox podcast celebrating all things gaming, food, and the good old days. You can follow the show at The Nerd Chat across all social media. The show was created by Daniel Wolenzik, and you can follow him at Daddy Diwali. The lead producer and co-host is Jose Martinez, and you can follow him at Chipotle_Bear. And former intern, recently promoted co-host Jason Jarrett can be found at X Bacon Gaming. If you'd like to find out more about the show, please visit nerdchatmedia.com. And as always, see you online.